They say men are visual creatures, but what if I told you the real way to make him never want another woman has nothing to do with how you look and everything to do with what you say in the most intimate moment you share? Because when you speak the right words while his guard is down, you don't just touch his body, you brand yourself into his heart and mind forever. The power of emotional imprinting is one of the most underestimated forces in a relationship, yet it's the very thing that determines whether a man keeps his attention solely on you or allows it to wander elsewhere. When a man is in his most vulnerable and intimate state, his senses are heightened, his mind is open, and his emotional walls are at their weakest. In that moment, everything you say to him carries far more weight than it would in an everyday conversation. It's not just about the words themselves, but the way they are absorbed and etched into his memory. Think about it this way. During intimacy, a man's brain is flooded with chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, which create feelings of pleasure, bonding, and euphoria. These chemicals make the brain more likely to attach significance to whatever is happening in that moment, including the words you speak. If you understand this and use it intentionally, you can create a powerful mental association between you, his deepest pleasure, and emotional fulfillment. This is where emotional imprinting becomes an almost permanent mark on his mind, something no casual attraction outside of your relationship could ever compete with. But the key here is that this isn't manipulation, it's connection. You're not trying to control his thoughts, you're giving him an emotional experience so rich and meaningful that he doesn't even want to look elsewhere. When you speak words that validate him, appreciate him, and express genuine desire, you're building a library of intimate memories that he will replay over and over in his mind. These memories act like anchors, pulling his heart and attention back to you even when you're apart. They make him feel that what you have together is irreplaceable. Men often hide their emotional needs behind a facade of strength or indifference, but deep down, they long for someone who makes them feel truly seen. During intimate moments, you have a rare opportunity to bypass that protective layer and speak directly to the part of him that craves love, admiration, and belonging. When you do this well, you're creating an emotional imprint so strong that it becomes part of how he defines love itself. It's no longer just about pleasure. It's about who gave him that pleasure and the emotional safety that came with it. This is why what you say during intimacy should be intentional. Random phrases or half-hearted words won't leave a mark. They'll fade as quickly as the moment itself. But when you use language that affirms his worth, his masculinity, and his uniqueness in your life, you create a bond that feels unshakable to him. He won't just remember your touch, he'll remember how you made him feel about himself in that exact moment, and that feeling is what he will chase for the rest of his life. Emotional imprinting isn't something you do once and forget. It's a pattern of creating moments where your words and his heightened emotional state come together to form unforgettable memories. Over time, these moments stack up, creating a deep reservoir of love and attraction that makes other women seem insignificant in comparison. In his heart and mind, you become the one person who truly knows how to connect with him on every level, and that is the kind of connection no superficial attraction could ever replace. Speaking to a man's identity rather than just his ego is the difference between surface-level attraction and a bond that lasts for years. His ego thrives on praise about what he does, his skills, his looks, his performance, but his identity is tied to who he is at his core. When you speak to his identity, you're telling him that you value his character, his integrity, his heart, and his purpose in life. This kind of validation reaches deeper than physical attraction, and it's something that most men rarely receive, even from those closest to them. The problem with only feeding a man's ego is that it keeps the connection shallow. Compliments about his body or his abilities may boost his pride temporarily, but they fade quickly because they don't touch the part of him that truly matters. When you speak to his identity, you're showing him that you recognize the man behind the mask, the one who wants to be respected for more than just what he can offer physically. This makes him feel chosen for who he is, not just for what he can provide. When you're in an intimate moment and you speak words that affirm his deeper qualities, his loyalty, his ambition, his kindness, you're planting seeds of emotional security. These words tell him that even if his appearance changes or his circumstances shift, you will still see value in him. That assurance is rare and powerful because it makes him feel irreplaceable in your eyes. A man who feels valued at his core doesn't have the same hunger to seek validation elsewhere. The intimacy of speaking to his identity works because it aligns with one of the deepest male needs, the desire to be a protector, provider, and partner who matters. By affirming these qualities, you're not inflating his ego, you're strengthening his sense of self. That creates a powerful emotional bond because you're not just loving what he does for you, you're loving who he is, even when no one else is watching. This depth of connection becomes addictive to him in the best way possible. The truth is, anyone can make him feel physically wanted, but very few can make him feel emotionally understood. When you speak to his identity during the most vulnerable moments, you're giving him a gift that stays with him long after the moment ends. It becomes part of his internal dialogue, reminding him that with you, he is not only desired, but deeply respected and truly seen. That is the kind of connection that no passing attraction can compete with. Specific, authentic praise is one of the most powerful ways to make a man feel deeply connected to you, especially during moments of intimacy. Generic compliments like "you're amazing" or "you're so hot" may feel good in the moment, but they lack the personal touch that truly resonates. When your words are specific, they stand out in his memory because they show that you've noticed something unique about him. This creates a sense of being truly seen and appreciated, which builds a stronger emotional connection that outlasts the physical moment you're sharing together. Authenticity is key because men can sense when praise is forced or exaggerated. If you tell him something that doesn't align with what he feels to be true, it won't stick. It might even feel insincere. But when you speak honestly about something you genuinely admire, whether it's the way he touches you, the sound of his voice, or the look in his eyes, it lands in a way that can't be forgotten. Authentic praise creates trust because it reinforces the idea that your words carry real meaning and aren't just meant to flatter. Specific praise also has a way of making him feel irreplaceable. If you compliment something unique, like how his presence makes you feel safe or how his focus on you makes you lose track of time, you're telling him that he gives you something no one else can. These aren't compliments he can easily hear from anyone else because they're tied directly to your shared experience. That's what makes them so powerful. They become moments he replays in his mind when he thinks of you. During intimacy, his senses are heightened, and the brain is primed to remember emotional experiences more vividly. This is when specific praise can become an anchor in his mind, forever linking your words to the intense feelings he's experiencing. When you describe the exact thing he's doing that drives you wild, or the way he makes you feel in that moment, you're not only validating him, you're creating a mental snapshot he will never want to replace. This deepens desire and strengthens loyalty in a way casual attraction never could. The beauty of specific, authentic praise is that it not only makes him feel good about himself in the moment, but it also builds a deeper emotional bond over time. Every time you speak with that kind of intentionality, you're stacking layers of trust, attraction, and intimacy. He begins to see you as the person who understands him best, who notices the details others overlook, and who makes him feel like the most valued version of himself. That kind of emotional connection is far more lasting than anything purely physical. Connecting the physical to the emotional is what turns intimacy from a fleeting experience into a lasting bond. Many people focus only on the physical side, chasing pleasure without realizing that the real magic happens when you intertwine it with emotional depth. When you connect those two worlds, you make the moment about more than just what's happening to your bodies. You make it about what's happening between your hearts. This creates a richer, more meaningful experience that stays with him long after the moment is over, making you unforgettable in his mind and heart. During physical intimacy, emotions are already heightened because the body releases chemicals that enhance closeness and trust. If you use those moments to also express love, admiration, and appreciation, you link those heightened sensations to your relationship itself. For example, telling him how much you love feeling close to him, or how safe you feel in his arms, ties his physical presence to your emotional fulfillment. Over time, he begins to crave not just the touch, but the emotional connection that comes with it, making it nearly impossible for him to separate one from the other. This connection also makes him feel more invested in you. Physical attraction can fade or be distracted by novelty, but emotional attraction creates loyalty. When he associates intimacy with feeling emotionally understood, validated, and loved, it becomes more than just about pleasure. It becomes about you. You're no longer interchangeable with anyone else because no one else can give him the same combination of emotional safety and physical fulfillment. That's the kind of bond that keeps his focus on you even when temptation exists elsewhere. It's important to remember that this doesn't mean forcing deep conversations in the middle of intimacy. It's about subtle, intentional moments. It can be as simple as whispering that you've never felt this close to anyone before, or that being with him feels like home. These statements weave emotional threads into the physical moment, ensuring that the memory he takes away isn't just about passion, but about the unique love you share. The more you repeat this, the stronger that connection becomes, until the two are inseparable in his mind. When the physical and emotional are fused together consistently, intimacy becomes a form of communication that words alone can't match. It becomes a way to reassure him of your love, deepen his trust, and remind him that he is both desired and cherished. This dual connection creates an intimacy so unique that it can't be replicated with anyone else. And that is what makes a man see you not only as his lover, but as the one person who truly understands and fulfills him on every level. Triggering a man's protective instinct is not about making him feel obligated to shield you, but about awakening a natural desire in him to care for you, cherish you, and ensure your well-being. Deep within, most men have an instinct to protect the people they love. And when this is activated in a healthy, respectful way, it creates a sense of pride and purpose in the relationship. During moments of intimacy, the right words and expressions can tap into this instinct, making him feel not only physically connected to you, but emotionally responsible for your happiness and safety. When you express vulnerability in a genuine way, such as telling him how safe you feel in his arms or how much you trust him, you are affirming his role as someone important and irreplaceable in your life. This isn't about pretending to be weak, it's about allowing him to see the softer, more trusting side of you. Men often bond more deeply when they feel they are providing emotional security as well as physical pleasure, and this combination can make him far more loyal and invested in your relationship. The protective instinct is also closely tied to a man's sense of identity and masculinity. When he feels that his presence makes your world better, safer, and more complete, it gives him a sense of accomplishment that no casual encounter could ever offer. During intimacy, your words have the power to reinforce this by highlighting the unique way he makes you feel secure, cherished, and cared for. The more he hears this from you, the more he begins to associate his own value with being the one who protects and loves you. This connection works on a subconscious level as well. When his protective instinct is tied to physical pleasure and emotional closeness, he doesn't just see intimacy as a physical act, he sees it as a reaffirmation of his role in your life. This makes him far less likely to seek attention elsewhere, because with you, he is getting the full package: passion, purpose, and emotional fulfillment. You're not just a partner to him, you're the person who inspires him to be his best and most devoted self. Over time, triggering his protective instinct creates a foundation of trust and devotion that is hard to break. It's not about dependency, it's about mutual care, where you both look out for each other, but also allow him to feel that his role in your life is meaningful. When a man feels that he is your safe place and you are his, the relationship gains a level of depth that keeps his heart and attention firmly rooted in you. No matter what challenges challenges or temptations may arise. Anchoring desire in a future together is about planting subtle seeds in his mind that connect the passion he feels in the moment to the life you could share beyond it. When intimacy is not only pleasurable but also wrapped in the vision of a shared future, it becomes more than an isolated experience. It becomes a step towards something lasting. This creates a powerful psychological link where he begins to associate the depth of connection you share in the present with the excitement of building a life together. That's when intimacy becomes both a physical and emotional investment. During moments when emotions are heightened and barriers are lowered, even a simple reference to the future can have a lasting impact. It could be as light as imagining a trip you'll take together, talking about future traditions, or hinting at the kind of home you might share. These subtle visions create an emotional anchor in his mind, so when he thinks about his desires, he automatically thinks about you being part of his life in the long term. Over time, these moments become a quiet but steady influence on his commitment. This works because humans naturally form attachments when their emotional needs are met alongside their physical ones. When you give him pleasure while also painting a picture of a future where that pleasure continues, mixed with companionship, support, and love, you're creating a powerful motivation for him to stay loyal. He's no longer chasing a fleeting high, he's pursuing a bigger, more meaningful reward. That combination of present joy and future promise is a bond very few can compete with. It's important, however, to keep these hints light and natural, not heavy or demanding. You're not delivering ultimatums or forcing timelines. You're weaving little glimpses of what could be into moments of closeness. This makes him feel excited rather than pressured, and it lets him associate the idea of commitment with warmth, fun, and desire. The goal is to make him feel that a future with you isn't just possible, it's the most appealing option he has. When this is done consistently and authentically, you create a unique kind of loyalty. He doesn't just think about you when he's with you, he thinks about you when he imagines where his life is going. In his mind, you're not only part of his present happiness, but also the key to his future fulfillment. That's when a man stops looking elsewhere because he knows that no one else can give him both the fire of today and the promise of tomorrow in the way you do. In the end, keeping a man's heart and attention is not about competing with other women or constantly worrying about losing him. It's about creating a connection so deep, so layered, and so unforgettable that he couldn't imagine replacing it. When you combine emotional imprinting, speaking to his identity, offering specific and authentic praise, connecting the physical to the emotional, triggering his protective instinct, and anchoring desire in a shared future, you're building something far beyond fleeting attraction. You're becoming the woman who makes him feel truly seen, valued, and desired on every level. And that is the kind of bond no temptation can break.